Galaxy S7 Edge versus S9 Plus coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Galaxy S7 Edge versus Galaxy S9 Plus. In this one, we're going to talk about if it's really worth the upgrade to go from the smaller boy to this bigger boy 2 years later, 2016 phone, 2018 device here in the Galaxy S9 Plus. Now, unlike the iPhone series, I feel like with the iPhone Plus series, when they went to the iPhone 10 and shifted to a more off-screen display, it was much more noticeable. But the S7 Edge, while it does have thicker, chunkier bezels than the newer S9 series, it has still had a beautiful curved display, so it doesn't feel like such a quantum leap like it did from like an iPhone 7 over to an iPhone 10. So on the Samsung side of things, really all you're getting is a shrunk down bezel, I feel like, when you go from an S7 Edge to a Galaxy S9 series. Yes, a little bit more immersive as well, but the design was still really nice is what I'm trying to get at on the S7 Edge. Let's begin by talking about the key spec upgrade. So you're definitely going to go from an Exynos 8890 over here to 9810 if you get the Exynos chips. This one is the 8890. This is the Korean model. That's why you don't see the Samsung logo up there. And this is my Snapdragon 845 series. So if you are on a Snapdragon side, you go from a Snapdragon 820 to an 845. And I think you're going to feel more of an upgrade if you have a Snapdragon S7 Edge and you go to a Snapdragon, S9 Plus, because the Snapdragon 845 is much better than the 820 versus, the Exynos, which is definitely better, but the Exynos was already really good in the S7 Edge, so I don't think you'll see as much of a difference there. Now you're going to go from 4 gigs of RAM on the S7 Edge all the way up to 6 gigs of RAM here on the S9 Plus, so that RAM management should give you a little bit more apps you can open up in the background when using these two devices. Like if you have a bunch of stuff open, it should be easier to go in and out of things without having any crashes on the S9 Plus. So if you're a power user, you're definitely going to want to do this upgrade. Camera wise, you do get a dual camera. You still have selective focus on here, so you can blur the background on the S7 Edge, but you can do it a little bit better here with that second lens on the Galaxy S9 Plus. Also, this does have a variable aperture where that aperture will open up and close for letting in more light. We already know this by now. The heavily marketed camera reimagined. Is it really reimagined? No, I think it's more of a feature reimagined. It's not really like a whole breakdown of the camera and a brand new camera. A regular point and shoot from Sony RX100 would still smoke a smartphone camera like this, but it's still really good. Also, you're going to get a bigger, wider, taller phone. So you get that and you get a heavier phone, so it feels more premium. So that's basically all I want to talk about with the specs. The battery actually goes down to 3,500 milliamps versus 3,600, but in real world use, it actually performs slightly better than the S7 Edge. And you keep the same IP68 rating, so you're both waterproof, so you can put them underwater and they should be fine. Now, when it comes to their design, both of them are, I think, very good looking devices, but the bezels on the S7 Edge, everyone's all concerned about smaller bezels. So if that's your trend, if you really like this trend, then you're going to love the Galaxy S9 Plus a little bit more. But at the same time, look at that design on the S7 Edge, that gold, just the way it, contrasts is that blue color. It's just really phenomenal there for the S7 Edge. Also, it did have a pretty flat camera design on the rear, just as the Galaxy S9 Plus does. So both of them are top-notch in design. I do think, the Galaxy S7 Edge, I really like the colored bezels on the front. I wish they kind of did this with this phone, but at the same time, I understand they did that for immersion experience. It's an infinity display. You're supposed to get lost in the display. I don't know why you want to get lost in your smartphone display, but if you've ever used a Galaxy S8 and up, you know that sometimes that does happen. So overall, if I was choosing one for design, definitely going to have to go with the Galaxy S9 Plus. But if I have a Galaxy S7 Edge, if you do and you're thinking about upgrading, you're not going to be looking like you have an old phone if you use this for the rest of this year and you just wait for the Galaxy 10 or whatever comes after this, because I think you're going to see even more of a radical shift in design on the next Samsung phone, the S series. They can't do this design again. It's a normal TikTok cycle. They do 2 of the same designs 2 years back to back, then they got to redesign it all together. So you would actually be fine with this design for one more year, as the iPhone 8 Plus came out and looks like the iPhone 6 Plus, and that design is older than this design. So this design will still look fresh through the year of 2018, but if you really want a new updated screen to body ratio, you definitely want this design in the Galaxy S9 Plus. Talking about build quality, Gorilla Glass 4 on the left, Gorilla Glass 5 on the right. So you can get this one a little bit more around your keys and stuff like that. It's a little bit more scratch resistant than the Galaxy S7 Edge. On the rear, the glass should hold up a little bit better on the Galaxy S9 Plus. Build wise, when it comes to their sides, they're both metal, so they're pretty strong on the sides. You know, they don't break really unless you drop them. They're really good build quality. So both of these are pretty strong in that regard. Just keep a case on them, because if you hit the corner of those edges, you are susceptible to a crack. While we're on the topic of build, you do have a much lighter phone in the Galaxy S7 Edge. So if that's your thing, you want to stay away from the S8 Plus. Maybe look at the Galaxy S9, the smaller series, if you want to keep your light build, but you still like this design, because you're going up pretty significantly here in weight on the Galaxy S7 Edge to the Galaxy S9 Plus, and height. It's going to be a lot harder to reach this display all the way up at the top versus the S7 is kind of just a one thumber. It's pretty great design here when it comes to one hand on the S7 Edge. Let's get on the software. So if we go into the settings on the S7 Edge, this one does run Android 7. I had it on 8.0, the same exact version that's on this S7 or S9 Plus. But at the same time, it was having bugs and crashes, so I had to go ahead and put Nougat back on here until the official rolls out to my S7 Edge. But over here, we do have Android 8.0 with Samsung Experience version 9.0, and they really did some optimizations to the 9.0 Samsung Experience version and made this device feel just a little bit faster. I know Oreo's helping out in the background, but the new Samsung just feels quick. I really like it, especially for a Snapdragon. It really needed that. It really feels quick on this device. No matter what you're doing day to day, I don't see any lag at all for the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. And that's what you want to see when you're paying $800 for a phone like this. Now, granted, the S7 Edge also has no lag on this Exynos model. I haven't seen any lag with this boy either, but it was also even better when it was on the Samsung Experience version. So both of them are very fast. I think that unless you're doing video editing and you're really pushing these phones to the max, going from an S7 Edge to an S9 Plus when it comes to just daily tasks is not going to be felt too much. Okay, so let's talk about their cameras really quickly. Both of them have 12 megapixel cameras. The S7 Edge was one of the first phones to bring the dual pixel AF technology. Basically what that means is it allows you to pinpoint focus really quickly here. But both of these devices can really snap photos very fast and efficiently, but you get a little bit more sharpness on the right picture on the Galaxy S9 Plus. So, you know, in good daylight, it's going to be kind of hard to see the differences between these two phones. But I'm telling you right now, just get the S9 Plus if you really want a serious camera contender as one of the best smartphone cameras you can buy. But if you're still looking for an all-around just camera, you might want to consider the Pixel 2 XL or the Pixel 2, because while this camera does have a variable aperture, your everyday snaps, I think the Pixel 2 just does what people want it to do when it comes to their everyday snaps, regardless of this whole variable aperture thing. Also, with its advanced algorithms in the Google Pixel 2's camera, you can also get great night shots out of that camera as well. But if you do want a serious night shooter low light, you have to pick the S9 Plus over any smartphone camera, because low light is where it really shines on this device. So low light, if that's been an issue for you, you want the S9 series. But again, I like to stress that if you're not taking pictures at night and you've already enjoyed your S7 Edge, going to an S9 Plus is not going to be a quantum leap in camera. It's not going to be like going from a point and shoot to a DSLR. It's not that huge of a difference. It's like little minor tweaks and upgrades to make your picture that much better. It is appreciated, but it's not like it's going to change your overall use of a smartphone. You could still rock out on Instagram and kill it with an S7 Edge here in 2018. It's that good of a camera. Now, one area where the S9 just blows the pants off of the Galaxy S7 Edge is the audio. There is no comparison here. Stereo speakers, Dolby Atmos, boosts it up some more. There is literally no comparison here when it comes to that. So if you do want an upgrade in speakers, you're tired of the tinny speaker on the Galaxy S7 Edge, it's over with. Just get yourself the Galaxy S9 Plus. You're not going to regret it. I'm going to go ahead and play a video really quickly. Once this ad skips through, let me skip it. And let's skip that ad, and it's just so loud. Cover that one, it's still playing. Yes, so I'm not even gonna play one on the S7 Edge. You already know it's gonna be tinny. You could just cover it up really easy. If you want an audio upgrade, go with the S9 Plus. Just do it. You're going to be happy. Or the smaller S9 if you don't want the bigger size. They both offer great audio updates over the S7 Edge. Let's talk about security. You do have Fingerprint Scanner on the rear. This one will give you an update to an iris scanner as well as intelligent scan, which will combine facial recognition as well as iris scanning. Also, you could use a fingerprint. You could have all three set up at the same time. Well, you can't have intelligent scan and iris. You can have any of those features turned on, and you will have biometric security for the S9 Plus. Now with the S7 Edge, it's your standard fingerprint scanner. Some people like it on the front. I personally like it on the back because that's where my finger rests, but that might be your personal preference. And this one does well with its fingerprint scanner. I think the one on the S9 Plus is a little bit faster though, so keep that in mind. And also they made this little ridge on the S9 Plus so you don't kind of rub against the camera, so I never really get the camera dirty in this location. And also you could do this little thing on the new S9 Plus, which I don't see you can do on the S7 Edge. Both are secured by Knox, so no issue there, and Samsung Pay works stellar on either device. So when it comes to security, both are about as secure, maybe a little bit more secure when it comes to the physical authentication. So like basically, you know, the iris scanning, the stuff that's on the hardware, there's a little bit more security there, but behind the scenes, Knox is pretty much the same, Android pretty much the same. So security, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, an 8 out of 10 on the Galaxy S7 Edge, a 9 out of 10 on the S9 Plus. Okay, so let's discuss their battery life. If you're gonna go from an S7 Edge to an S9 Plus when it comes to battery, you're going from 3,600 milliamps to 3,500 milliamps. I'm gonna be honest with you, I find that the S9 Plus actually drains a little bit slower, even though it has a smaller capacity than the S7 Edge, but I've been very impressed with the S7 Edge's battery life. Now, real numbers, I'm getting about 5 hours of on-screen time with the Galaxy S7 Edge. I'm getting about 6 hours of on-screen time with the S9 Plus consistently. Now, that might just be to the optimizations, the Samsung Experience version. Who knows, a newer processor, more efficient, but I just get better battery life on the S9 Plus. But I can easily get through a day with the S7 Edge. So it's not like a blowout win in battery life, but you know, it's still a win over the S7 Edge. So I don't think it's an $800 difference. Like, you know, you're gonna pay $800 for this phone, or if you trade in the S7 Edge, you get $350 off. So it's not, it might be a $400 difference. That's really up to you to decide, but it's not a massive change when it comes to how long the phone lasts throughout the day. We have arrived at the conclusion, Galaxy S7 Edge versus S9 Plus. For a lot of people, this is a no-brainer. This is, yes, definitely I would do that upgrade. For some, it's not such a no-brainer. Some people really love their S7 Edge, and if you were buying one right now, you're getting a fantastic deal. A lot of people argue, well, no, you're not, because Samsung's not going to update that too much longer. Well, Galaxy S7 Edge is actually getting Android 8.0. It might not get P, but at least it'll get it. And if you get a Galaxy S7 Edge for, you know, at least 1 year, you can just hold off until the Galaxy S10 comes or whatever's next, and you'll see a super radical difference in design. Whereas this one, I think, while it is pretty different on the front, the overall feel, these two devices are definitely have a lot of similarities. It's not like I said earlier, it wouldn't be like going from a Galaxy S4 to this. Going from a Galaxy S7 Edge to this is kind of more of a refinement. It's like they took the design, tweaked it a little bit, refined it a little bit, and now you have a stellar product in the S9 Plus. So if you're into tech like that and you want all the latest and greatest features, definitely do the upgrade. If you're somebody who's just considering it and you're like, is it really going to change my life? Is it going to do that much more? That's debatable. If you use the low light camera, yes, it will. For battery life, not so much. For speed, not incredibly different. For screen, it's definitely more immersive, a little bit more distracting. And design, it might look a little bit sexier when you pull it out of your pocket. That's my final take on the S7 Edge versus the S9 Plus. Me personally, I would do the upgrade because I'm into tech like that. If you guys found this video helpful, enjoyable, do me a favor, click that like button for me. Would you do this upgrade? Comment that down below. Have you already done this upgrade? Did you just order your S9 Plus? Are you about to order it? Let us know down below. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to be well, and peace.